Laurie Strode, Sidney Prescott, Sally Hardesty. You might well recognize those first two names as arguably the most iconic horror movie victims/survivors of all time, from the Halloween and Scream franchises, respectively. When Jamie Lee Curtis returned to Halloween and when Neve Campbell reprised her Scream role, in both cases, it was a pretty big deal. With all respect to the character of Sally Hardesty and the legacy of the original The Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974, Sally's return in the 2022 Massacre, a direct sequel to the original, just doesn't carry the same wallop. For one thing, the actor who created the part, Marilyn Burns, passed away in 2014, and while Olen Fouréré turns in a capable performance as the now 65-ish Sally, it's not as if there's a classic, generations-spanning conflict between Sally and Leatherface. With far too little history between Sally and Leatherface to warrant an entire movie, director David Blue Garcia and screenwriter Chris Thomas Devlin usher Sally into the story in rather ham-handed fashion, give her a few choice moments and then, well, we will not spoil it other than to say the end. So they bring in a whole new generation of annoyingly clueless potential victims. We'll get to them in a moment. For those unfamiliar or rusty on Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there's a TV special conveniently playing in the local gas station at the outset of the movie, with John Larroquette, the narrator for the first film, laying out the grisly legend, in the summer of 1973, a few miles outside of Austin, Texas. The shocking murders were committed with a variety of tools including hammers, meat hooks and most disturbingly, a chainsaw. Of the 5 young victims, only one survived, Sally Hardesty, right? Sally. Now we remember. The rather awkward and forced premise of the new film has a group of trendy trendsetters, or so they'd like to think of themselves, arriving in the dusty and near-dead town where the killings took place, with a grand plan to buy up the remaining houses and businesses and transform the downtown R. They even kick this one particular old lady, Alice Krieger, out of her house, which used to be an orphanage, and this leads to her having a heart attack and dying, and her shadowy, hulking, mysterious son, Mark Burnham, has a big problem with that, as in, he dons a mask made of human skin, cranks up tea. There's a bit of intriguing social commentary and a plot point involving the troubled and closed-off Lila, Elsie Fisher, who has reluctantly accompanied her big sister Melody, Sarah Yarkin, and wants nothing to do with this backward town, where a tattered Confederate flag still flies from one building.